She thought her money and status as a tourist gave her the right to do anything. Throwing a snow globe directly at a royal guard seemed like an innocent joke to her, and his silence was just an invitation for further provocations. But no one could have anticipated how that day would end, with the crowd erupting in applause, her reputation in ruins, and the guard becoming an instant internet sensation. What happened next forever changed the way people view respect for traditions. Let's start from the very beginning. London hummed with its usual rhythm. Lazy grey clouds hovered over Big Ben, streets buzzed with tourists, and life bustled in front of Buckingham Palace. Among the lively crowd stood him, the royal guard. Tall, composed, and adorned with the iconic bearskin hat, his stern gaze fixed in the distance, he was the epitome of British discipline and tradition. Tourists swarmed around him. Cameras clicked, children laughed, and groups loudly debated their best photo angles. Among the crowd stood Kim, a young American woman with pink hair and a large latte cup in hand. Her vibrant appearance and loud voice naturally drew attention. "Hey, Mr. Robot, smile for me!" she shouted, aiming her phone camera at the guard. The guard didn't flinch. His unwavering stillness and stoicism only fueled Kim's excitement. She moved closer, towing the boundary of permissible space, and added, "Come on, you're a person, not a mannequin." The crowd watched with growing curiosity. Some chuckled, others pulled out their phones to record the scene. The guard remained motionless, yet the air grew thick with tension. It was clear Kim wasn't stopping at a simple photo. She wanted more, a spectacle. Noticing the crowd's growing attention, Kim decided it was time to up the ante. She yanked a glass snow globe from her bright bag, its artificial snow glinting inside. A self-satisfied grin lit up her face as she waved it dramatically in the air. "If you won't smile, maybe a bit of holiday cheer will do the trick," she said loudly. With a quick motion, Kim hurled the snow globe at the guard. It struck his shoulder and shattered with a soft chime, scattering tiny shards and fake snow across the ground. The crowd collectively gasped. Some onlookers fumbled for their phones, anticipating a scandal. But the guard remained as unyielding as before, his pose untouched, his expression stoic. It was as though nothing had happened. For a moment, Kim hesitated, caught off guard by his complete lack of reaction. She quickly recovered, turning to the crowd with mock indignation. "Seriously? He didn't even flinch!" she exclaimed. A few chuckles rippled through the audience, but more heads began shaking in disapproval. One man muttered to his companion, "That's crossing the line." Undeterred, Kim stepped even closer to the guard, now dangerously close to the forbidden white line. The invisible boundary tourists were forbidden to cross. Her phone, still recording, hovered inches from his face. "What now? Should I throw something else, or are you finally going to entertain us?" she sneered, a smirk playing on her lips. The guard stood his ground, his unshakable calm now unsettling the crowd more than entertaining them. The murmurs around Kim grew louder. "She's gone too far," someone whispered. The shift in the crowd was palpable. At first they had been amused spectators. Now their gazes turned toward Kim with visible disapproval. Yet she seemed oblivious, laser-focused on her target. The guard, still unyielding, embodied a quiet dignity that spoke volumes without a single word. Kim, emboldened by her audacity, continued her provocations, pacing along the white line as if testing the guard's patience. Her taunts grew louder, sharper, drawing even more attention from the crowd. But her tirade was abruptly interrupted by an unexpected sound. A child's cry. A little girl, no older than 7, stood off to the side in a green coat, her braids framing her tearful face. Her wide eyes were fixed on a red helium balloon, now floating higher and higher into the sky, carried away by a gust of wind toward the busy road. The girl's parents stood nearby, helplessly watching the scene unfold as their daughter's cries grew louder. And then, something extraordinary happened. The royal guard, who had seemed like an immovable statue until now, suddenly stepped out of formation. With a single fluid motion, he crossed the white line, capturing the attention of everyone around him. His movements were precise, calculated, and remarkably swift. He strode toward the road, his sharp gaze following the balloon's path. In one seamless action, he reached out and caught the string just before it disappeared out of reach. The crowd fell silent, their focus entirely on the guard. He turned back toward the little girl, knelt to her level, and gently handed her the balloon. "Here you go," he said, his voice calm and steady. For a moment, there was silence. Then, a wave of applause erupted from the crowd. Cheers and cries of "Bravo!" echoed around the square. The little girl's tears turned to a wide, joyful smile as she clutched her balloon tightly. Kim, standing off to the side, was visibly taken aback. Her smug confidence evaporated, replaced by a look of stunned disbelief. "So, you can move!" she blurted out, but her voice lacked its former bravado. It was tinged with uncertainty. The guard rose to his full height, turned, and calmly returned to his post. As he resumed his stance, his gaze locked on Kim. His expression remained composed, but his eyes carried a firmness that needed no further explanation. Then, to the astonishment of all, he spoke. "Respect for tradition is not a choice, it is a duty." The crowd erupted into another round of applause, louder and more enthusiastic than before. Phones that had been recording the entire exchange now captured the guard's words, ensuring the moment would live on far beyond the square. Kim stood frozen, the center of attention but no longer in control. The weight of the crowd's judgment pressed down on her as the guard's words echoed in her mind. Kim, sensing the shift in the crowd's mood, tried to save face. "I just wanted to have some fun," she protested, raising her hands defensively. But her voice was drowned out by the murmurs and whispers of disapproval. People shook their heads, their expressions a mix of disdain and disappointment. That was unacceptable. How could she behave like that? Meanwhile, videos of the incident, filmed from countless angles, began flooding social media. Clips of Kim throwing the snow globe, the guard's noble act, and his powerful words spread like wildfire. Comments poured in by the thousands. This is why royal guards are true professionals. She thought she was funny, but she only embarrassed herself. What an incredible response. This guard embodies honor and tradition. Kim quickly realized she wasn't the star of the story, but its villain. Her social media accounts were bombarded with criticism and angry messages. Unable to handle the backlash, she deleted her profiles entirely. The guard, on the other hand, became an instant legend. His composure, his swift yet compassionate act, and his profound words resonated with people worldwide. The next day, he returned to his post, standing tall and proud as ever. Passers-by whispered words of gratitude. Some left flowers near the white line, and children pointed at him in admiration as they walked by with their parents. Adjusting his bearskin hat and tightening the strap on his carbine, the guard resumed his silent vigil. His duty continued, but now he represented more than just the traditions of the royal guard. He had become a living symbol of dignity, a reminder that true strength lies in honor, not in words or actions meant to provoke.